I'm thinking about the idea of ascent right now, A-S-C-E-N-T, rising, going up. I'm thinking about this mainly because I've just climbed this massive slope here in Totnes, where I'm staying right now, through these woods. It's absolutely brilliant climb, really. I should have filmed while I was climbing. Maybe I'll make another one on the way down. And you know, all the effort that you put into climbing this slope, it was through some woods. You know, there wasn't really a formal path. It was just a brilliant climb through these woods. All the effort that you put in and the sense of achievement when you get to the top, and you know, the kind of inferences and entailments involved in that. You know, when you get to the top, there's a sense of relief because you're not straining any longer, and you're kind of out of the shadows into the light. You know what I mean? When I was down at the bottom of the hill, there was lots of trees about. I mean, there's trees here right now, but there was lots of trees and buildings and shadows as a result. But when I got to the top, it was all kind of open. There's lots of inferences around that whole ascent process, and I think it must be you know, part of our thinking, really. Well, I know it is. You know, it's that metaphor stuff I've talked about before, isn't it? And how moving upwards is visualized in a certain way just because we experience moving up in a certain way, and then that experience, that yeah, that fully embodied experience and all the sensory information that goes along with it becomes mobilized to talk about other things. So I made a video recently about why my flip camera makes this little noise and it starts up and slow and shuts down. And what I was saying in that one is that, you know, the rising intonation that to indicate startup, you know, it seems to just invoke that whole intuitive sense we have of birth and getting out of bed and waking up and being ready to work. So the camera is effectively telling us, or the camera designer, whoever designed that startup tone, is mobilizing all that information we have about things that rise. And conversely, when my flip camera shuts down, look at this view here, by the way, when my flip camera shuts down, it makes the falling intonation, again invoking a different set of inferences about going to sleep, saving power, you know, not being active, all those kind of things, which we associate again with lying down or falling down or dying. And here about ascent, what I've just thought of, sorry, it's taken a long time to get to this point, hasn't it? Just in terms of climbing up this hill and now walking this slow hill down, I'm thinking about that other ascent, you know, the ascent that Jacob Bronowski talks about, the ascent of man, he says, which is this idea of human development and animal development and the whole evolutionary development, cultural and civilization developments, as being climbs. The long, slow climb out of the darkness of the primordial ooze, or the climb out of barbarianism, or the climb out of the dark ages. You know, that movement towards the light, which the whole enlightenment project talks about. It's a bit like that, isn't it? It is a bit like my flip camera starting up. It is a bit like walking through the woods, getting to the top of the hill, and the view just kind of opening out, and there being lots of light and visibility available. So you can see stuff. I'll just turn the camera around, so there's a good view of the river there, look. And you can see that through the trees. You know what I mean? This is the kind of benefits that being on a high place offer you. And I think when Bronowski's saying the ascent of man, describing our development as an upward motion, it's this kind of an experience I think he's invoking and giving it that positive quality. The idea that there's been through some struggles, you know what I mean? You've felt the pulling on your hamstring and you felt a bit out of breath as a nation, as a civilization, as a species. And our species has felt its heartbeat pound as it strives towards to get to the top of the hill. And as we get there, we kind of feel a bit better. It's like a sense of relief. You know, I think he's kind of invoking all that. And you know, I think Dawkins does it as well. You know, in what's it called, Climbing Mount Impossible. You know, it's the evolutionary narrative related through the metaphor of an uphill climb. And he you know, he's not using it mythologically. He uses it very clearly as a metaphor and deploys it really effectively, I think. And how you know, you can climb up slopes like this, but you can't climb up cliff faces. And that's pretty much how evolution works. It works as a series of hamstring stretching steps up a slow incline, rather than you know, one that requires you to hammer those little pegs in and string ropes together. So yeah, but again, I think the image is the same. It's this push against gravity, push against the forces of some kind of, not exactly adverse nature, but certainly the forces of difficulty and opposition. You know, it isn't natural to climb a hill, it's natural to roll down a hill. If you know what I mean. If I was an inanimate object, I wouldn't naturally go up a hill, I would naturally roll down it. So I think there's something about that, there's something about the whole contrary to entropy effect of life. Yeah, it's all that really. So I suppose all I'm saying is that rising, the things that go up metaphor that I've found in my flip camera, and that little start-up tone, and that you find in yeah, anything that's about rising, you know, rise against, or an uprising, or phrases like the enlightenment and the climb out of the dark ages. I think you also find in that evolutionary narrative of the ascent of man and the evolutionary narrative of climbing Mount Impossible. And it has all these positive values and all this baggage with it. And just see if I can get to this gate so I can finish this video with a nice view. Hold on. Little gate here. I'll turn it round so you can see. There's a little rustic gate. It's like a chocolate box around here. It's like living in a chocolate box. You know, the pictures on the top of chocolate boxes. It's like living in one of those. It's just so attractive, that landscape. There you go, look.